Hi all, welcome to the Caseverse, your one-stop solution towards case-based learning. In this video, we shall discuss about teaching note, one of the uh, very important instruments of learning in reference to the case-based learning. Why should a teaching note be strictly followed by the facilitator of the case? There are several reasons. I'm going to share with you those reasons. Why should it always be strictly adhered to? Why should it be guiding the facilitator of the case? First of all, the case is developed by someone who is not necessarily facilitating the case. More often than not, the facilitator or the teacher or the instructor of the case is not the developer of the case himself or herself, which necessitates the facilitator to be strictly guided by the teaching note. Now, what does teaching note comprise? Teaching note is a very clear a document where the developer of the case shares the very motive, very objective behind developing the case, which means the teaching note is a prescription towards how should the case be opened up, how should it be followed through, and how should it be concluded. So it's an extremely structured document to understand how should a case be dealt with during the course of facilitation in a classroom or a workshop, as the case may be. So while the developer is developing the case, they start developing with a clear objective, with very specific learning goals, which is the spirit of any case, right? Though typically a case may have 3 or 4 or 5 learning goals as visualized, as planned by the developer of the case. So once the learning goals are developed, the developer of the case would identify the specific academic concepts, the specific academic frameworks or models that correspond to the learning goals that he or she has had on mind while developing the case. So all these things are captured very well in the teaching note, which is also referred to sometimes as instructor's manual or a facilitator's manual. So unless the learning goals of the case, the academic concepts of the case, or the frameworks, the theoretical frameworks around the case that fit into the case are not known, are not understood by the facilitator, there is a possibility that the case, the purpose of the case may stand defeated. Which is why it's an imperative for the facilitator of the case to take himself or herself thoroughly through the instruction, the teaching notice, the learning goals, the academic frameworks, and the concepts as shared in the teaching note, and plan the discussion of the case, the facilitation of the case in accordance with the teaching note. So once again, I reiterate, a best practice of facilitating a case is to form a thorough understanding around the teaching note or the instructor's manual. Understand what are the specific learning goals that a case is conveying, is trying to transfer to the learners. What are the academic concepts captured in the case? What are the theoretical frameworks or models that should be taken the help of, that should be referred to while facilitating the case, that ensures that the case is facilitated the way it is expected to be, and the learning goals are driven home successfully, effectively, satisfactorily, both for the facilitator and the learner. Thank you, and see you again in the next video.